and this is Top Accolade Global News Update. I am Soibifa Jakarich. The Bank of England kept its key interest rate at a 16-year high despite slowing UK inflation, opting against the cuts before Britain's general election next month. While UK inflation slowed in May to a near 3-year low of 2.0%, matching the central bank's target, the BOE had been expected to keep the rate of 5.25% ahead of the national vote in July 4th. It's a good news that inflation has returned to target. The Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey said following the regular policy meeting. We need to be sure that inflation will stay low, and that's why we have decided to hold rate at 5.25% for now. Ahead of the announcement, the Swiss National Bank unveiled the second straight interest rate cut after becoming in March the first West Central Bank to slash borrowing costs that had been raised to battle inflation. Norway froze rates. Analysts had widely expected no change to the BOE rates owing to UK service inflation remaining well above 2% and with energy bills set to rise towards the end of the year. They have added that the UK Central Bank could have wanted to avoid making a decision that could have been perceived as taking sides during a high-profile election campaign. However, the BOE stressed that its latest decision was in no way influenced by politics. The Monetary Policy Committee noted that the timing of the general election was not relevant to its decision, said minutes of the meeting. The BOE's main role is to keep the UK annual inflation rate close to 2%, having hit the target last month. According to official data, analysts had argued that the news had handed a much-needed boost to impacted Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Vladimir Putin has warned South Korea it will be making a big mistake if it arms Ukraine in the war against Russia. His comments come after Seoul said it is considering such a possibility in response to Russia and North Korea's new pact to help each other in the event of aggression against either country. Moscow will decisions which are unlikely to please the current leadership of South Korea if Seoul decides to supply arms to Kyiv. Mr. Putin told reporters the Russian leader was speaking in Vietnam shortly after a lavish visit to Pyongyang, where he signed a mutual defense agreement with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Mr. Putin also warned that Moscow is willing to arm Pyongyang if the US and its allies continue supplying Ukraine with weapons. Seoul had earlier condemned the Russian-North Korean agreements as a threat to its national security, and National Security Advisor Shang Ho-jing had said this country planned to reconsider the issue of arms support to Ukraine. Following Mr. Putin's remark, South Korea's presidential office said on Friday it would consider various options in supplying arms to Ukraine, and its stance will depend on how Russia approaches this issue. It also summoned the Russian ambassador Georgy Zinoviev to protect the pact, demanding that Moscow immediately ceases military cooperation with Pyongyang. The Biden administration will ban all sales of Kaspersky antivirus software in the US for starting in July, according to reporting and a filing from the US Department of Commerce. The US believes that security software made by Moscow-based Kaspersky lab represents a national security risk, and that the Russian government could use Kaspersky's software to install malware, block other security updates, and collect and weaponize the personal information of Americans, said US Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. US businesses and consumers will be blocked from buying new software from Kaspersky starting on or around July 24, 2024, 30 days after the restrictions are scheduled to be published in the Federal Register. Current users will still be able to download the software, resell it, and download new updates for 100 days, which they say will give affected users and businesses time to find replacement software. Rebranded products that use Kaspersky's software will also be affected. Companies that continue to sell Kaspersky software in the US after the ban goes into effect could be subject to fines. The ban follows the 2-year national security probe of Kaspersky antivirus software by the Department of Commerce. It's been implemented using authorities that the government says it was given under a National Authorization Act signed during the Trump administration in 2018. The ban is the culmination of long-running concern across multiple presidential administrations. South Korean soldiers fired warning shots after North Korean troops crossed the land borders for the third time this month as Pyongyang's military treaty with Russia spiraled into a diplomatic row between the rival nations. North Korean soldiers who were working within the demilitarized buffer zone that separates the two Koreas crossed into the South Korean territory a day after Russian President Vladimir Putin concluded his visit to Pyongyang. The South Korean military first warned the intruders, verbally following by warning shots. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said on Friday this is the third incident of intrusion, and similar incidents took place on 9th and 18th June, each involving some 20 to 30 North Korean soldiers briefly crossing the demarcation line and retreating shortly after the South Koreans broadcast audio warnings and fired warning shots. It comes as South Korea withdrew from the peaceful reunification after fresh tensions escalated over exchange of propaganda leaflets and trash-filled balloons. The U.S. State Department said the deal was incredibly concerning and would destabilize the Korean peninsula. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had a phone call with South Korea's Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yol and said the U.S. will consider ways to respond to the threat to international peace and stability from Russia and North Korea. Black and white portraits taken in 1982 shows the little prince smiling and sitting on his father's lap as the Prince Charles beams affectionate at his son. It comes just days after Prince William posted a childhood snap with Charles to mark Father's Day last Sunday. The photograph showed the pair playing football in the gardens of Kensington Palace in 1984, with Williams dressed in dungarees and a striped blue top and Charles in a grey double-breasted suit. Happy Father's Day, Pa! Social media post personally signed by William said. Kensington Palace also released a picture of Williams with his three children on a beach in Norfolk taken by the Princess of Wales. Earlier this week, the Prince of Wales shared a carriage with his stepmother Queen Camilla at Royal Ascot, where he was joined by his in-laws Carol and Mitchell Middleton, his sultan, his cousins and close friends. That is the size of top Accolade Global News Updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Friday.